are calling for a ceasefire. So many leaders are calling for ceasefire.
We are bound by our faith to demand a ceasefire now. Our movement for ceasefire is only growing stronger. We will not be intimidated. We will not be silenced. And we will not stop until we save lives.
Omar, Bush, Tlaib, never mind a ceasefire, would probably cost lives rather than save them. 24 members of Congress have pushed for a ceasefire resolution. And because of it, now many in safe Democratic districts, many of the faces you see there, will face some very well-funded primary fights. The lobbying group AIPAC will reportedly spend $100 million plus to support pro-Israel candidates to challenge the Squad and other progressives who voted against supporting Israel. The ceasefire now types, if you will. Lauren Wright, associate research scholar and lecturer in politics, Princeton University. Kurt Bardella, LA Times contributor, are here. Nice to see you both. One of the things interesting, Kurt, is that it doesn't seem to have changed any minds. Cori Bush all of a sudden facing now a very well-financed challenger from the Democratic side, doesn't really seem to care.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, if anything, you've seen that they've doubled down on their position. It's almost hardened their position. I think that's kind of what happens when it's a religious conflict. And so these are true believers. These are not people who are just saying the thing to get on the news and get the soundbite. They are true believers, and they are willing to go down if that's what it takes.
Lauren, in these primary fights where all of a sudden you have huge amounts of money that would never be spent on a congressional primary fight in a very safe Democratic congressional district, how big of an effect does $100 million have?
I don't think it's that much. I mean, look, Ilhan Omar is the least popular member of the Squad. She's got a 27% approval rating, and she just won re-election with 74% of the vote. Rashida Tlaib won with 64% of the vote. So, unfortunately, among Democrats in the primary environment, they don't seem to care about these things, not to mention the Squad has had a host of really unpopular positions on a variety of things for years now. They want to cancel rent, no more fossil fuels, no more nuclear, no more police, abolish prisons. These are not mainstream opinions.
All the greatest hits are coming back.
They've been doing fine.
Yeah, but those are mainstream opinions perhaps among their voters in the Democratic constituencies in those districts. I'm thinking about Cori Bush from St. Louis, which is a race I know pretty well. I'm not sure that Democrats wouldn't look for, especially with a large Jewish community in Missouri's 1st Congressional District, wouldn't be more than happy with a well-funded challenger.
Yeah, I actually think that, I think about sometimes we've seen the Squad endorse candidates in other races in primaries, and they haven't won. And I think that if you're going to put $100 million behind some of these races, listen, they're not going to win all of them, obviously. Not all 24 races they want to put money into is going to end up flipping. But I do think some of these members, they could be vulnerable. They could end up flipping. And the thing is, when you're in a safe district, you know how to just run for re-election on autopilot. Running into a well-financed challenger that's going to have an operation, it's going to have a ground operation, it's going to be doing voter contact. Like, that's a different proposition. And I'm not so sure in this climate running so far to the left, I don't think that's necessarily going to do
well. Look, the other thing is that AIPAC can not only pour a lot of money into one challenger, they can prevent a lot of money from coming to the incumbent just by
they're people who want to keep their powder dry and just not get involved.
Right. Yeah. The AOC yesterday, criticism of the Israeli government is virtually non-existent in U.S. politics. Apparently, that's not enough. Got to spend $100 million to unseat a few believe in Palestinian human rights and ceasefire that most Americans already support. The acceptable level of dissent is zero. Well, no, there's lots of dissent that's possible. But Lauren, she's right about one thing. 68% say that they agree Israel should call for a ceasefire and try to negotiate. Among young Americans, half say they support Hamas in this. What's happening with the polling? Is the American public not quite where sort of the ethos of American foreign policy has been over the past 50 years?
Well, the opinion is really most disturbing, frankly, among Democrats. 80% of Democrats are for a ceasefire. It's barely half of Republicans. And so this really is a phenomenon among Democrats where they're divided, and the liberal wing of the party has really taken it over, despite the fact that Hillary Clinton says a ceasefire would be a gift to Hamas, that anyone calling for a ceasefire doesn't understand Hamas or Middle Eastern history or the fact that they don't abide by them. And I don't want to get in the habit of giving you compliments, Leland.
Oh,
but
definitely
however,
don't do it. Stop
I will
yourself
say
We're
that
running out of time, but you don't want.
From day one, your reporting has been really impeccable, and your knowledge of the Middle East really
thank you.
shows.
Oh, and I got to say, too, the newsletter that you
viewers are
put out
happy.
every day, I think that is an incredible resource for people
It's
who
true.
don't know the ins and outs of this.
Well, thank you.
Like, it's very insightful.
It's a big team that we have putting it all together. But thank you both very much. And thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.